Hi, in this video, we are going to continue where we left off talking about invoices. So before we created an invoice, we showed how you could receive payment or a partial payment to that invoice. But now we're just going to explore the sales center a little bit more so you can see how you can use it to your benefit. Okay, so here, let's first see how did we get here. So let's pretend that you just logged in, you're in the dashboard. How we get there is we're going to go to the sales center in the menu. You go to sales and all sales. So either you can click all sales right here, or you can just click the sales and then all sales is up here at the top. So it's sales and then all sales. All sales. Okay, so we're in all sales transactions. Here we have the money bar, so let's just explore that for a second. The one that, of course, probably will get your attention the most is the orange overdue. So it is saying in the sample account, they're saying that there are 20 overdue invoices. Now, sometimes people just get behind and it's not really overdue. Your customers did actually pay you, but you just haven't had a chance to come back and record that. So, it could be truly they are overdue. You need to contact your clients, your customers, because they haven't paid you, or it just might be once you catch up, then this number will get better. So if you want to see all of your overdue invoices, you can just click right on this orange box and it will filter the list for you. So notice it filtered it, all invoices that are overdue. So it filtered it for you and you'll see the status over here. So all the orange overdue. And they're giving you total 5,800, which is also up here as well. So, or no, here, 5,200. So the difference in the numbers, that would mean that there's probably an invoice in here that someone paid partially. So here it is. This invoice was for $459, but they only paid part of it. There's still a balance. So even if you've recorded a partial payment to an invoice, if the due date has passed and they've not paid the full amount, it will show up on the overdue invoice. So even if it's just part of it is less than they have not paid it, then it will come here. And again, it will only come here. It will only be on this list if it's past the due date. So if you didn't really pay attention to the due date that you set, this might not mean much because let's say that your due date is 60 days and it's just the default is 30 days. So really all these people aren't overdue. So yeah, if you actually specifically set the due date that you want, that this is real, it means something, then probably it is overdue. Okay, so here we've got the date, we've got that it's just invoices, the invoice number, the customer, the due date, the aging just means how many days is it overdue. So this was due on 9/16, so they are saying that it's aging this much. So here we have the balance, the total really, it's probably best to read this one first. Your invoice total is $362 and the balance is they haven't paid any of it, or at least you just haven't recorded that they've paid it. So here we've got all our overdue. If there was any attachments, we would see them here in this column. Okay, so let's look at our next one of just open invoices. So here, it's basically, I clicked open invoices, but all I see are overdue, which that just means that you don't have any really open invoices that are current. Basically, all your open invoices are overdue. So maybe if you were to create an invoice now, today, and it's not due yet, then that would be just a regular open invoice. Okay, so, and in the last video, you saw that as well. It just said open here in gray if it's not due yet. So all your invoices, they are past due. Okay, so here, let's say the nice one, we can go to the green and see in the past 30 days, you have this invoice that was paid. So you have one paid invoice in the last 30 days. All right, so that filters the list for you as well. Over on the blue side, let's say that you use estimates in your business, and this will also track how much you have in estimates. Any unbilled activity, I clicked on that to see, well, what is that? So unbilled activity, that could be like billable expenses or things that you've billable expense that customer, you're going to charge that customer for. So you created that to just keep a track of that. In this case, it looks like it's for time. So you tracked that you're going to bill them for $375 of time. Okay, so what does that mean in practice? When you go to create, so this is for Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Let's say that you've created this, that you're going to bill her, you plan to bill her or invoice her for $375 worth of your time that you've worked on. Then when you go to make an invoice for Amy's Bird Sanctuary, because you already created that record ahead of time, when you select Amy as the customer, notice on the side it pops up billable time, $375. So we'll say, yes, now I'm ready to invoice her for this. So we'll say add, and now it'll just put it right on the invoice for you. You already created it, so it filled it out there for you. So let's say that this is all correct. We'll go ahead. And then also in the top corner, notice it says one link time charge. So that's the charge that we saw in blue ahead of time. All right, so now we're going to save and close. All right. And now let's come back to our invoices. So now notice it says 21 open invoices, and here's just our open invoice. It's not due yet, so that's where it just says open. And that's for the $375. So then later on, she pays you, you record it, and then that'll take care of it. That'll be done. Okay, so now let's say we just want to look at everything. Okay, so when we look at everything, you'll notice that how QuickBooks works is that they will separate the invoice and payment on two separate rows. So here's the invoice, and here's a separate payment. So here in this, now this is where it does get confusing, and I do want to point this out, is that it's not always obvious. It's putting it right now by the date. So the payment may not, just because it's right next to another invoice doesn't mean that it's the payment for that invoice. It's just going by date right now. So hopefully they update that eventually so it's clear what invoice is this payment for, but you can see it by clicking into it. Also, if it is correct, maybe by the date that going in order of the date, you just know, that that's the date that they paid you for that invoice. That's great. But if the dates are all kind of different, then you can click into the payment. So if you click anywhere on that row, it'll bring up the payment, and there it's checked that this is for invoice 1031. So it's checked off that this was paying 1031. You can click on that link and it'll open up the invoice itself if you want. But if you don't want to go that far into it, you can just open it up and see which invoice. Okay, it's invoice 1031, and 1031 is not, let's see. All right, well, 1031 is just, oh, here it is. Here we go. So there's invoice 1031. Okay, so yeah, so you just have to unfortunately click into it to see which invoice does that payment go towards. Okay, so the last thing I want to point out that can be helpful is what I just did. You can click on any of these headers to sort the table. So if you want to see it all by date, if you want to see, well, what's the oldest item you have on this list, you can click date and it will show, one more time. Okay, so it will show that now, right now it's filtering for just within the last year. So I'll come back to that in a second, but you can filter the date, so you can change that. You can click on type so that all the type of the records are organized. Estimate, charge, billable expense, time charge, and then invoices, and then payments would be after that. You can say, well, I want to look at all of the numbers and go in order of the invoice. I'm looking for a certain number and you want to see it in order. You can click on number, you can click on customer to alphabetize all the invoices by customer. Memo, if you needed to see a certain memo, you could bring that right up. You could also do it by total. And if you click it, then it'll put it in order of the numbers. And then you could do it by status. So overdue is first, then open, then paid. Okay. And the other thing that's really handy is the filter button. So we come over to filter and just say, I want to see only sales receipts. And I want to see them for this year. So they give you all these preset date ranges, so that can save time as well. You could see last year, you could just see all dates. You could click all dates, just everything, and not filter it by a certain date. You could just say all dates, and you want to see sales receipts, all dates, and maybe for a certain customer. You click apply. So here we can see all the sales receipts that we have entered in here. Now, let's say that you're trying to figure something out. Maybe you're reconciling, or there's just some reason that you're trying to figure something out or resolve some issue. If you click on these checkboxes, notice the selected total. It's a calculator for you. So you can say, maybe I want to see these two from August 13th and 15th, and then it'll tell you the total is $218. So that can save you some time because you don't need to go over to another calculator. It'll calculate for you. You can also just select the checkbox to check everything if you need to. And then you can come up here to batch actions. And there's only so many things you can do in this screen. Sometimes the batch actions can be helpful in other areas of QuickBooks, but here there's only a few things you can do. Just print those transactions, print packing slip, send those transactions, so email them out. Okay, so that is it for this video. So that is just the All Sales Center, and just kind of exploring it, seeing how you can use it, especially being able to check things off or filter. That can be very helpful sometimes. Here's yet another place where you can create a new invoice or payment or estimate. So you can do that here. You can create a new transaction of these options here. But again, you can just stay with the plus new button in the top left. That's going to be everything. It's all right here. So if you just want to get in the habit that you always come to the plus new button, that's fine. But if for some reason you want to do it differently one day, you've got another option to create the invoice. You could come over here as well. All right, so we will explore the Sales Center more. We'll go into the customer list, the product and services list. Those will be other videos because that's really helpful information, especially the products and services. That's really good to have that set up correctly. So that will be another video, and I will see you then. Bye.